All right. Happy Thursday, everyone. I apologize beforehand. I know the last two videos went a little bit longer, and so I'm actually going to keep this one a little bit shorter. And, and frankly, the reason why is because I know you throughout the years have heard of the 2000 Stripling Warriors. And today, in Alma's chapter 53, and then 56, 57, 58, these are the four chapters where we learn about where they come from, the 2000 Stripling Warriors, and what they do. And frankly, I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about it. It's amazing, it's phenomenal, it's faith inspiring, it's mind-blowingly awesome what they are able to do. But what I'm going to do is simply focus on four different verses found in Alma chapter 57. And I think of all these chapters, of all these four chapters, obviously you're going to read them if you have not already. But these are the verses that matter. Obviously, we don't have an hour a day like we will when we're finally able to meet in person, whenever that is, hopefully soon. But of all these four chapters, there's only these four verses that I want to focus on. And this is why they had such power, and this is why they were so blessed, and this is why Moroni, of all the things he could have included this story of these young men, many of which were your age, believe it or not. So we know that these young men, they took up arms so their parents wouldn't have to. Their dads, of those which had dads, a lot of their dads had died, which you might remember from earlier on in Alma. They died because they buried their weapons of war. They knew the Lamanites were mad that they had converted to become Christians, and they knew that the Lamanites were coming, but they didn't care. They still buried their weapons of war, and so a lot of them were, as the Lamanites were coming and attacking them, they knelt on the ground, and about a little less than 1,000 died. And until the army stopped, and they're like, okay, what is going on? We're not going to continue to kill these people. Why are they doing this? Once they found out why they wouldn't fight back, more converted than had actually died. And it's beautiful. It's sad, but also beautiful. The Lord works in very mysterious ways to save as many of his children as possible. So those people who died had some sons and daughters, and they made a covenant, a promise. They went above and beyond when they got baptized. They said, we are never going to fight again. And to show that, we're going to bury these swords, these scimitars, these shields, these breastplates, and whatever else. And so they grew up with that, and they saw their parents, because the Lamanites were again coming to the Nephites, and those people didn't want to be a burden to the Nephites. They had made that covenant not to fight, and they were about to break that covenant simply because they didn't want to be a burden on the Nephites. But these young guys, 15, 16, 17 years old, saw this, and they said, no, we'll go, we'll fight. And so fast forward to Alma chapter 57. They've already been through a few battles, and some miracles had happened. But then this is why they had so much success. Yea, and they, referring to the 2000 Stripling Warriors, did obey and observe to perform every word of command with exactness. Yea, and even according to their faith it was done unto them. And I did remember the words which they said unto me, that their mothers had taught them. So their mothers had taught them, many because their dads had died in that incident we talked about earlier. And they did obey with exactness and according to their faith in Jesus Christ. And because of those three things, they have been taught, and they had learned, just as you guys are learning, and they had faith, just as you guys had faith, and they decided to obey every word, every commandment with exactness. And listen to what happened in verse 25, 26, and 27. And it came to pass that there were 200 out of my 2,060 who had fainted because of the loss of blood. Nevertheless, according to the goodness of God, and to our great astonishment, and also the joy of our whole army, there was not one soul of them who did perish. Not even one of the 2,060 had died, where hundreds and thousands, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds and even thousands of both Nephites and Lamanites had died. None of them did. Yea, and neither was there one soul among them who had not received many wounds. And now their preservation was astonishing to our whole army, yea, that they should be spared, while there were 1,000 of our brethren who were slain. And we do justly ascribe it to the miraculous power of God, because of their exceeding faith, in that which they had been taught to believe, that there was a just God, and whosoever did not doubt, that they should be preserved by his marvelous faith. And finally in 27, now this was the faith of these of whom I have spoken. They are young, and their minds are firm, and they do put their trust in God continually. And that is my invitation to you. I invite you to hold fast to your faith in Jesus Christ. I know some of you, all of you, want stronger faith. We all do. And especially during this time, as you're going through the craziness that is the high school years, I promise you that as you develop greater faith in Jesus Christ, you will be even more successful during these years. And I know that you can do that just as they are. So, my question to you is, what did you most learn about the stripling warriors in these 4 chapters? What did you most learn that you did not know before? Try not to include something I just said. And anyways, I look forward to seeing your answers.